Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival.
There's Never Run Out of Road. That is a new one from legendary guitarist Rickey-Medlocke, and we are honored to have him on today's show here on Rock and Metal Revival. Welcome to the show, Ricky.
Hi, guys. How y'all doing today?
Doing good. We're doing really well. It's great to have you on the show. Now, Ricky, after the first time hearing this song, just listening to the lyrics, I knew it was special. And you've done this for a very special cause. Could you tell us a few words about the writing and recording process of this great song?
Oh, yeah, man. Basically, I had, normally every year when Skynryd is off the road, I have quite a bit of time on my own to do stuff. And I decided here a couple of years ago I was going to start putting out, new music and, put a band together and go out and maybe play shows and all that kind of stuff. And so I guess the song itself was written between Charlie Starr of Blackberry Smoke and myself about probably 7 or 8 years ago. And then when I got together with my former guitar player, Mark Warple out of Minnesota, we started fooling around with this song, and, we said, well, there's no reason really to go out and play shows unless we're going to have something to promote. And that's when it kicked in about putting a song out, and the next thing you know, this song came up in a lot of songs that I've got. I've got quite a bit of songs that I've written or co-written and pieces of songs here and there, but it came up, and Mark looked at me and he said, this sounds like we could develop this, into something great. And I said, yeah, let's do it. So we took it, we developed the song with more lyrics, different instrumentation. And so in comes a guy, Scott Harold, and he owns the label Rock the Cause. And what his deal is when he signs an artist to his label to do a song and or songs, he wants them to pick the charitable organization of their choice. And so that prompted me to pick the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center that goes for, the stopping of missing and murdered Indigenous women.
Great cause.
This has become, in the last, probably 100 years, this has become an epidemic. A lot of your older Indigenous women, young girls, even into young boys, they go missing, and some are found, some are never found. They suspect that a lot of it is trafficking, and so I picked that. I said, this is perfect for what I want to do. I'm about, I'm 2/3, maybe about 3/4 Native American, and it really hit home to me, and it's something that I wanted to do to bring to light and bring it to the forefront of being able to talk about. And a lot of people, you'd be surprised at how many people just do not really know anything about it. I mean, it's pretty amazing. It really is.
Yeah, and like the in the info you sent out with the single, on the average of 40% of women involved in the sex trafficking are Native American, and then only 10%. They only make up 10% of the population, which is that's just mind blowing.
Natives do make up only 10%, and out of those 10%, just try to wrap your head around. Out of that 10%, 40% of the women have come up missing or murdered.
That's just, that is really...
that is pretty staggering.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know what, man? I understand that. I understand there's a lot that goes on in this country and a lot that goes on elsewhere. There's a lot of stuff that people feel that are maybe a little more important than, what I'm trying to bring to the forefront. But for me, Native people, count just as much as anybody else.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And,
Definitely.
That's what I'm trying to do, is just bring the attention to what is going on and what is happening. And therefore, I chose that charitable organization plus another couple of two, which is Dream Catchers Charitable Fund and North American Save the North American Wolves Society. And if you go on my website, Rickey-Medlocke.com, you can find the links to take you over to those. And, or, go on the platforms of, any downloading platform that you might use, any streaming platform, and you'll find the song there.
Cool.
Outstanding.
Cool.
That's a great way to make money for a great cause.
Yeah.
Ricky, I was fortunate enough to get to see you play with both Blackfoot and Lynyrd Skynryd, and through the years, I thought that you and Gary Rosington were an unmatched guitar duo. How much do you miss playing with him on stage nightly?
Oh my God, man! It's been a little over a year, and every night we do this tribute to him, to Tuesday's Gone. And believe it or not, guys, I've gotten to where right now, after a year, I'm just now able to watch that video. It really hit me so hard, and it's like somebody not only gut punched me but slapped me upside the head with a brick. And I right now today, even though we're going on and we had his blessing to do what we're doing, and all the former the former family members that have perished, and even though we've done that, I stand there every night, and you know what? He's missing physically, but he's in my heart, and I know his spirit is there with me, and the band. And you know what? I'm just happy that we can. He wanted the Skynryd music to never fade. He wanted it to continue. He wanted it to survive. And you know what? We took it upon ourselves, Johnny and I did, to pull our bootstraps up and, figure out what to do. We got a great guitar player in the name of Damon Johnson with us.
Oh, yeah.
And Damon has been with everybody, had his own band, Brother Kane. He played in Alice Cooper, Thin Lizzy.
Yeah.
Dark Star Rider. I mean, he played in a whole lot of bands. And the guy is just, when Johnny called me, before Gary ever passed, Gary called us both and said, I don't think that I can do this anymore, and I want you guys to continue on. You have my blessing to do so. I'll come out every once in a while and get up on stage and try to play a couple of songs with y'all. And what everybody doesn't really realize is that the guy had really succumbed to heart disease. And, I urge everybody, in the listening area that you're listening to me, make sure you look at that heart. Make sure you check that heart out and those lungs, man, because you know what? I watched him go through what he did, and, man, it gripped us. And so, he would come out every once in a while and try to get up and play Alabama and Freebird. And one of the last shows he did with us, we filmed at the Ryman, live at the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville. And I mean, it still was a raw spot with me. I guess it always will be. But I miss him very much.
I bet. I'm a big time guitar geek. Can you tell me about that Carina Flying V that you play? because it's beautiful. Or not Flying
the
V, it's the
Carino
Explorer. The Explorer, yeah, the Explorer. It's gorgeous.
That's an oldie goldie.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I've had it for many years. It's so funny every time. I guess everybody relates me to that guitar.
Yeah.
And it's like my old friend.
Mm.
And look at all the old pictures of me playing. You'll see it. And also, I got an old Firebird and old Les Pauls. I take all my vintage instruments on the road with me. And people thinks I'm nuts.
Yeah.
To do it. But like my granddaddy Shorty told me, why are you going to buy them if you're just going to set them in the closet and break them out and look at them every once in a while? And so I put my guitar tech under a lot of stress, I guess. But, hey, I love playing my old guitars, and, that's it.
Yeah, can't blame you.
Hey, Ricky, one of my favorite albums of all time, and I mean this, top 10 albums in my heart, is Strikes from Blackfoot. And there's so many classic songs in there, Highway Song, Train Train. It's just such a classic album. When you think back on that album, what are some of the memories you have when you started to record that and playing it with Blackfoot live?
Oh, wow. Well, we had gone through 2 albums before that, I like to joke and say went vinyl. They didn't exactly, chin the world exactly, but and we went for about 2.5, almost 3 years without a deal. In the midst of it, I'd been with Skynryd before for about 2.5, 3 years, and I'd played drums on a lot of their early recordings out of Muscle Shoals and all that. Well, after the plane disaster, a record came out called Lynyrd Skynyrd's First and Last. Well, when that came out, I did not know. Then the Strikes album came out, and we recorded all those songs. And I'll be honest with you, we kind of, when we went in to record that record, we were serious, but we weren't quite that serious. And we had a lot of fun recording that record. Train, actually, when we were working songs up, Train was the very last song that we worked up to record. And it just kind of fell together because I remembered my old man had this song, Train, that he had recorded many, many, many years ago. And I just started fooling around with it in rehearsal with our producer there. And everybody's like, God, what is that? I said, guys, y'all should be familiar with this, guys in Blackfoot. I said, this is the old man's song, Train. And we just kind of fooled around with it, and boom, we got it together in about 20 minutes.
Wow.
That song was done.
Nice.
And it is what you hear right now.
That is such a classic.
Like, for instance, Highway Song was written on Interstate 81 going up to New Jersey. And Jack and I wrote that in about 15 minutes.
Dang.
So when the magic's there, the magic happens.
I guess.
And I got such great memories of recording that record, man. We were just having so much fun recording. We were finally with a real label that we knew probably was going to go to the wall with us, because they had already claimed they heard a couple of hits out of the record, and you wouldn't believe what they were saying that the hits were. As a matter of fact, the record label didn't even want us to put Train and Highway Song even on the record.
Man.
And our manager, also was our producer, Al Nally, he cut a deal with him and goes, look, you let me put Train and Highway Song on the record, and you can do whatever you want to with whatever song, you think is going to be the smash hit, and we'll let radio and the people decide it.
Nice.
Well, the record comes out, and all of a sudden, guess what? Highway Song hits, boom. And then the next thing you know, Train hit, boom.
Nice.
Well, they put the record over platinum. So here's Ricky.
Nice.
I'm sitting on a triple platinum record with Skynryd, a platinum headed toward double platinum with Blackwood, and I'd only had anything that went vinyl at that point, and I couldn't believe it. And you know what? The rest is history, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Now, when you rejoined Skynryd as a lead guitarist, what was the hardest song for you to master in that set list? Because there's a few complicated tracks that they got, you know.
You really want the honest opinion?
Uh-oh. Yeah.
I can give you a fudged over one, but I'll give you the honest opinion.
Okay.
First of all, when Gary got me back in the band, when he came down, I don't know if you ever heard the story about, he came down to Florida at my home here in Fort Myers. And I had gotten a message from him at my studio. And this was back when you had the old, like, tape machines that you left messages on.
Mm-hmm.
And I called home to pick up my messages. And there was a message that said, and I got the tape. I still have the tape. And the message said, "Hey, Ricky, this is Brother Gary calling you. Hope you're doing good." He goes, "I'm coming down to Fort Myers. I want you to learn I Ain't the One, Saturday Night Special, That Smell, and Freebird. And I'm going to audition you, and if you pass the audition, I'll put you back in the band and give you $1.50 in a Snickers bar." True story. So he comes down here to Fort Myers. I had my CD player set up with I Ain't the One ready. I had my old Firebird out and plugged into an amp. He comes in, and he sat right in front of me. And I turned it on. I played all the way through it, Alan's parts, because he said to me, "I want you to do all of Alan's stuff because you two guys, your styles were so similar. And you're probably the closest thing to Alan that I could probably wish for."
Wow.
And I said, "You got it, Gary." So he comes down, I play through the lead, I go back into the verse, and he reaches over and he shut it off. And he said, "You want to do this?" I said, "Hell yes, I want to do this." He said, "Come on, let's call Johnny." So we called Johnny. And Johnny was a little reluctant at first because Johnny said, "Man, you've always been a front man and a lead singer, and, you know, you sure you just want to stand on the stage and play guitar?" And I said to him, "Johnny, in the words of my granddaddy Shorty, if you can't be riding in the back seat of a Cadillac, you'll never get to be the driver." And I said, "Right now, I'm in the back seat." And that was in 1996, and here I am, still here today, guys.
That's
nice.
awesome.
That's a cool story.
That is a great story. Now,
You still got that
Now,
$1.50?
you want to know
Did he give you
which
that
song
$1.50
was
though?
Difficult? Well, everybody always thinks that Freebird was the most difficult one for me to put together, but actually, it was the easiest to put together because Freebird at the very end is put together in sections. And so you listen to the drums and you listen to what Alan's playing. I knew the licks. I knew the licks that he was playing because both of us were big Eric Clapton admirers. And I still am. And so when you play it, you hear so much of Eric Clapton in it. And I listened to the licks. I'd grown up listening. I played drums on the original recording.
Mm.
And so I knew what Alan was playing. I sat in the studio and watched him play it, you know.
Ah.
So I started on it, and it was so funny because the day came, we did rehearsals here in Fort Myers. And it was me and Huey, back in the band, Huey Thomason. And so the day came, the final day came for rehearsals, were to play Freebird. And all eyes, believe me, guys, all eyes were on me.
Mm.
And I think everybody was kind of going, yeah, you know, we'll see what he does. Well, I step up, and we start rehearsals, and the final song that day was Freebird. And we do it, we get into the lead, and I got in the lead and smoked through it.
Nice.
And at the very end of it, it was so cool. Billy Powell come up and hugged me. Leon hugged me. You know, everybody. Finally, Gary come up and took his hand. I shook his hand and hugged me. And he goes, "You nailed that."
Nice.
He goes, "Very good, Ricky."
Nice.
And from then on, Bo, I've been playing it ever since. You know?
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
Nice.
You know, Ricky, I read an article that was talking about you were present at Woodstock. Now, what was that like as a young musician, being there at probably one of the greatest outdoor music festivals of all time, with all those legends?
Guys, that was the most eye-opening experience. People ask me what the best band was. I always want to tell everybody what the most magical band was. Was Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh, nice.
There was something about that night that just, I don't even know what to say about it. It was just magic. And when they started in Want to Take You Higher, people got higher. Believe me. 4 days. You know, man, I mean, it was an eye-opener. It was definitely a music experience because I didn't go there because I never did the drugs and, you know, all the boozing really to an extent of what a lot of other people did. I went there for the music, and so did the two buddies of mine that were with me. And we went there. We spent the 4 days, actually. And you know what? It just changed my perspective. It really did. It changed me about music. It enlightened me. And I knew right then, I said, I've been, you know, studying and trying to write music and trying to be in bands. I'm in this for life. And it was really a life-changing experience. It really was. And here I am.
Nice.
74 years old, I'm still in music. Pretty wild.
That's awesome.
Definitely. Now, one last question. Do you think your first stint in Lynyrd Skynyrd as their drummer would have been more successful if you had added cowbell to all the songs?
I could have been Christopher Walken saying more cowbell.
Yeah.
You know what, man? The thing with me and playing drums was, and not a lot of people understand this, but I'll tell you guys that I have a chronic respiratory condition called pulmonary fibrosis.
Okay.
And back then, I mean, even as of now, when you play drums, you got to have a lot of air intake. And so 2.5 years I played. I enjoyed it, playing with the guys. But it got to the point to where I knew they were going to need somebody better than me. I mean, I thought I was good, but I didn't think that I was extraordinarily great. And I knew they were going to need somebody great to really get in there with and push them over it. And Ronnie and even Gary and Alan, they said, "Ricky, no, man, we love what you do. You're in the groove. a very pocket drummer, but I knew that there was something else for me, and I chose to move on. And I'll never forget, my dad said to me, you know, boy, when this band's out there doing it, more than likely that band's going to really do something, because there's something about them, especially that singer. And he goes, if they make it, you don't, you're going to have to live with that. And I thought to myself, I said, you know what? I know that, but in my heart, I feel like I'm on the right path, and so I'm just going to keep going. You know?
Yeah, outstanding. Hey, Ricky, one more time, can you tell us where our listeners can go out and purchase your new single, Never Run Out of Road?
Yes, I will, man. Listen, you can get it on Rickey-Medlocke.com. Go to Rickey-Medlocke.com. The links are right there. There's also merchandise that you can get for the MMIW. That goes to the charitable source. And also iTunes. You purchase it on iTunes. That goes to the native cause. And it's also, you can stream it on any one of your streaming platforms, whether it be, Spotify or Pandora or whatever.
All right.
It's all right there.
All right. Cool. Well, we want to encourage all our listeners to go out and get yourself a copy of that. Ricky, it has been an honor and a pleasure to have you today on our show, and you are always welcome back here, my friend.
Hey, thank you. Listen, I appreciate you having me on your show. Thank you.